All right, in today's lesson what we're going to do is we're going to look at rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, square pyramids, trapezoidal prisms, and a composite figure. And we're going to first label what they are, and then the second thing we're going to do is draw a net, and the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to find the surface area of each. So for this problem, this is a rectangular prism. Over here, this is a triangular prism. On C, we have a rectangular prism. On D, we have a triangular prism. On E, we have a triangular prism. On F, we have a square pyramid. On G, we have a square pyramid. On H, we have a trapezoidal prism. And I, we call this a composite figure, which is a cube plus a square pyramid. Alright, so that's the first part. The second part of this asks us to draw the net for these figures. So for a rectangular prism, I'm going to draw a rectangle as my base. Then I'm going to draw, these are my side pieces. And then I'm going to attach the top piece to one of the side pieces so that when you roll them up, it will fit right on top. For a triangular prism, I'm going to draw a rectangular base and attach a rectangle here. There should be 3 rectangles and then 2 triangles. So that kind of looks like a little bird. On this is going to be the same as a my rectangular prism. My triangular prism for this one, I'm going to draw the triangles or the rectangles a little different and the triangles. I should have 3 of those, and then I'm going to draw kind of like the bird flying in a different direction. And then here, rectangle, 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 triangle, triangle. For a square pyramid, the square is going to be in the middle, and then I'm going to draw triangles around the square, like that. For this one as well, I'm going to draw a square, and so this one is just like F. For the trapezoidal prism, I am going to draw rectangle, and then here I'm going to, on this side piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw kind of like a shoe in some sense. Right, so it kind of looks something like that. And then for this one, there's no top to this cube, so when I draw this, I'm going to draw 5 squares like that, and then attached to each one of these outside squares, I'm going to make a triangle as so. That was the second part of that. The third part of this is asking us to find the surface area of these problems. So for this one right here, the surface area is going to equal 8 times 5. That's the top, which is 40, times 2, which is 80. Then I have 8 by 10. So I have 8 by 10 on this side. That equals 80 times 2 equals 160. And then I have a 8 by 5. So 8 by 5, 8 by 5 at the top, 8 by 10 here. And then I have a 10 by 5 as well, which equals 50 times 2, which equals 100. Then I'm going to add those numbers together. And 0, 8 plus 6 is 14. It's going to give me 340. For the triangular prism, we're going to do surface area. And the two triangles are identical to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 8 times 6, because that's base times height, which equals 48. And I'm going to leave it 48 because both of those triangles together are going to give me 48, because that makes a parallelogram. And then I need to find the side pieces for the rest of them. So for this problem, I have a 10 by 15 rectangle here, 10 by 15, which gives me 150. Then I have a 15 by 6 on the bottom, 15 by 6. That's going to equal 90. And then I have an 8 by 15. So 8 is over here, and then 15, 8 by 15 rectangle on that side, and that's going to equal 15 times 8, 40, 120. Okay, and then I'm going to add those numbers together. So 8 and zeros make 8. That's 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 2 is 20. And then 2, 3, 4. 408 square units. Right, for that problem there. For this rectangular prism, I'm going to do a 13 by 5. 13 by 5 equals 65. And I'm going to double that because that's the front and the back, which equals 130. Then I'm going to do 13 times 4. 13 times 4 gives me 52 times 2, which equals 104, because that's doubling that. And then I need to do a 4 times 5. So 5 is over here, 4 is over here. 5 times 4, which equals 20, times 2, which equals 40. So 4 and zeros make 4, 3 and 4 make 7, 274 square units. Okay, this triangular prism here, this triangular prism right here has, notice here that I need to use the base. The base is 5, the height is 12. So I'm going to do 5 times 12. 5 times 12 is 60. And I'm not going to half it because those two triangles together will make a parallelogram, so I'm going to leave that as 60. And then I have a, if I'm looking for my rectangles now in this, I have a 5 by 8 rectangle, or an 8 by 5, and that's 40 square units, so that's me putting that over here. This rectangle is 12 by 8 on this side, so 12 by 8 equals 96 square units. And then the last rectangle, which is in the back, should be a 13 at the top. You see that 13, that's 13 by 8. 13 times 8, 24, 104. Okay, and then I'm going to add those numbers together. So I have 104 plus 60, 40, and 96. 6 and 4 make 10. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 9 is 19, plus 1 is another 1. plus, so 4 plus 6 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 9 is 19, plus 1 is 20, so I didn't carry my 2, so this should be 300. Sorry about that, just stumbled it there a second. The next one, we're looking at this as a triangular prism, so I need to do, I'm going to do my surface area of my triangles first. That's a 6 by 4 equals 24. Both sides should be the identical, so I'm going to leave it at 24. Then I have a rectangle at the bottom, which is a 12 by 6. 12 times 6 is 72. Then I have two side rectangles, and they should be the same. So that's 12 by 5, which is 60, times 2, which is 120. I'm going to add those together, 120, 72, and 24. 4 and 2 make 6. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So 216 square units, all right? This square pyramid here, remember that square, to find the area of a square is side by side, so 8 times 8 equals 64. That's one part of this answer. And then we have 4 triangles which are identical to each other, so I'm going to find the area of one, which is 11 times 8, which is 88, and then I need to half that, which is 44. So to find the surface area here, I'm going to take 64 plus 4 times 44. When I do 4 times 44, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 4 is 16, I get 176, so I have 176 and 64. I add those together, 10, 7 plus 7 is 14, 240 square units. All right, for this one over here, I have another square, so 6 times 6 is 36. And then I have a 10 by 6 triangle that I need to have. That's 60 cut in 2, that's 30. 30 times 4, because there's 4 triangles, that's 120. So then I take 120 plus 36, 6, 5, 156. And then we're moving on to the trapezoid, which is going to be so much fun for all of us. So the trapezoid, I'm going to cut this and decompose this into a triangle and a square. Know that this whole side here is 8, but it tells us on the opposite side that this is 5, so therefore this means that this base of the triangle is 3. So I'm going to first find 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20, and there's another square opposite of that, so I'm going to times that by 2, that equals 40. Then I'm going to find the base of this triangle here, which is 3. The height of that is 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and I'm going to leave that as 12 because there's 2 identical triangles put together that makes a parallelogram or square, whatever you want to call it. And then what I'm going to do is I have at the bottom I have an 8 by 12 piece, right? So I'm going to take 8 times 12, which equals 96. And then at the top I have a 12 by 5 piece. And I'm going to multiply that by 2. So that's 60 times 2, which equals 120. And then I'm going to do a 4 by 12 piece. So there's my 12, here's my 4. So that we're basically looking at this side that you know, it's hard to see over there. 12 by 4 is 48. And then I'm going to add these together. So I'm going to do 120, 96, 12, 40, and 48. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus another 8 is 16. 9 plus 1 is 10, that's 12. 12 13, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then this should give us 316 square units. And then the last one over here, what we're going to do is we're going to find the square, or the cubes, right? So I have 5 times 5, which equals 25. What I'm going to do is multiply that by 5 because the top is really missing in this piece. So 25 times 5 is 125. And then I'm going to find the triangles. There should be 4 triangles, so they should be identical. So I'm going to do 8 times 5, which is 40. I'm going to cut that in half because we're finding the area of a triangle. That's 20. And I'm going to take that and multiply that by 4, which gives me 80. So I'm going to do 125 plus 80, 5, 10, 205 square units.